Yesterday, I put out a video that explained how the math involved in hull resistance stacking is incorrect. And past 70%, stacking negative resistances on top of your hull results in higher resistances instead of lower resistances. This error in the code has resulted in so-called funny hull builds, which I've literally only learned about last week in a conversation in the AXI Discord, which I'm not ashamed to say because honestly, it's a truth, and one should not be ashamed of a truth, I fundamentally believe. Since then, in the last day, some very interesting things have happened. Like, for one, the PvP community came out in droves to say that A, this is not new and has been known for 5 years, and furthermore went on to sort of suggest more effective builds to do what they're arguing is really the only intended purpose of this build, which is to gank commanders inside of stations while tanking the guns of stations for an extended period of time that allows them to destroy commanders because effectively of this, let's call it for what it is, exploit. And that already had my alarm bells going on a little bit and saying, okay, well, this is not just a funny mechanic that people can use to do interesting things. This is something that has some sort of really not good for the community kind of implications. And then I went on to say, okay, well, how come if it's been known for 5 years, I have never heard about it? Since I have 4,000 hours in the game, I've been playing since beta, and granted, I don't do PvP, I'm not really a member of that community, but typically I tend to hear things about the game, even though, especially if they're meaningful. But I've literally only learned about this last week. And I've been asking around, and it turns out that, first of all, for all the coming out and saying, oh, everybody knows about this, it's been known for 5 years, I have it on good authority that people have been endeavoring to keep this under wraps for an extended period of time, especially in the early days, when they actually didn't want this to be disclosed, presumably for fear that it would be fixed. As again, it allowed for a certain type of playstyle and behavior, which I think personally, and this is why this is an op-ed and an opinion, is detrimental to the community as a whole. In the meanwhile, people came out and reached out on the forums and said privately, hey, by the way, just so you know, don't be talking about this on the official Frontier forums because Frontier Developments knows about this, considers an exploits, doesn't want it talked about. And that's where my kind of, bells were just going off and ringing and saying, guys, this is just not okay. We gotta get this fixed, because what I felt was an interesting gimmick or trick that people could use to experiment and sort of do fun things in the game, turns out instead is a way that people have been griefing others for apparently an extended period of time. Frontier Developments has known about it. They've done nothing to solve it. To the extent of my knowledge, they have not punished people who have abused this to the detriment of other commanders, and they have certainly not taken steps to fix it. And so my opinion is we should now get it fixed. And how do you get things fixed in this game? Well, there's a few steps to it. Number one is you make a detailed issue tracker report, which explains exactly what is happening with precise pointing out examples, math. You give everybody the necessary information to reproduce the issue in a consistent fashion, because if you can't reproduce an issue, you can't fix it. And then you make also specific suggestions with regards to what is wrong with the situation and what are some potential ways to fix it. And that is what I've done my best to do in the issue tracker report, which is pinned in the comments below, and that I'm asking your help to go in, confirm, and upvote to the high heavens of the top of the pyramid so that it gets attention on the issue tracker side of things. And then the other way to get things fixed in the game, at least in my experience, and I think I have a generally decent track record in pointing out and getting things fixed to date, is shining a humongous spotlight on them. And this is really what this video is meant to do, which is to say, hey, there's an exploit, which I learned about last week. It's very different, in my opinion, from glide skipping and from fast travel, because those are absolutely harmless things that save people a bunch of time. And honestly, I think it's a good thing that they're in the game. I wish they stayed. And if anything, they'd be made official, because they do save people a ton of time and harm no one. Whereas This one is an exploit that has been used to grieve people and to make people's experience miserable. And as a result, in my particular set of values and mental buckets, sits in a very different category, as in the category of those things that need a huge spotlight shine on them and they need to be fixed. So please help me by going to the issue tracker, uploading this thing, talking about it in the comments, sharing this video far and wide. Help me make that spotlight as big as possible so that we get the attention of our British friends and we get this exploit fixed. Thank you. Glory to mankind. Glory to Mechan. Over and out.